Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I have drawn this dog in real time as well on my channel, which is in a playlist called How to Draw a Realistic Dog. So if anybody wants to check it out in real time, that's where it is. I will link it at the end of the video as well. But this time lapse, I just want to talk you through some of the basics. So I always start with the eyes, and I usually get the structure around the eye in first, just so that I know that the eye is placed where it needs to be. So structure in first, and then I go in on the actual eye, using very light pressure and lots of layers to get the colours in. This is on pastel mat, and it is drawn with mostly Faber-Castell polychromos. There are also some Caran d'Ache luminants in there. You don't need that many pencils, if I'm honest, but I just like to have plenty, so that I've always got options. And then once I have finished the eye, I will start getting some colouring around the eye. This is a black dog, but he is wet, so because he's wet, he has a lot of reflection from the blue of the sky reflecting off him. So there's lots of blues in there, even though he is a black dog. Again, now I'm just going around, just finding the darker bits around the eye and just trying to get the structure right. As you can see, when I started, I had some white highlights on the pastel mat, and those are really helpful. They help you to see which direction the fur's going in, which is very beneficial. So I would definitely advise doing that. And so the second eye was just the same as the first eye. It was just the same colours, the same process. So then I moved on to his ear, and I was demonstrating then just how little pressure I am using, so I can barely see it touching my skin. Again, that's in real time, so if you want an explanation of that, check out the other videos. So all I'm doing here is going in, finding my darkest spots in between all the highlights, always looking backwards and forwards from reference image to my drawing, and I tend to do the eyes, get the eyes in, and then start top left and work down to bottom right, being right-handed, because I don't want to have my hand all over what I've already drawn whilst I'm drawing. The eyes do get a little bit smudged. I mean, you can just use a piece of paper or something if you want to not smudge it. I didn't use a piece of paper because I wanted the whole drawing to be visible whilst I was drawing it to you guys. So all I do is just go back over the eyes once I've finished the left side of the drawing. Just go back over the eyes and just bring them back to life, because they will dull a bit as your hand moves over them. So again, just following the direction of the fur. Got my darks in, now I'm going in, getting my highlights in properly. And then what I was doing there was just using my dividers just to check that the size of the eye was correct. Again, that's all explained in real time if you want to see that. So now using the blue, this is quite a dark, deep blue, and this is to get a deeper black. So if you just put black straight down, it tends to go a bit grey and a bit grey wash. You can't get the really deep dark blacks, which you really need, especially on a black dog. But anything that's black, you need that deep dark black because that's what gives you realism. That's what brings things to life. It's not the colours, it is the tonal values. So your lights and your darks need to be as light and as dark as they are on your reference image. And also, always bearing in mind edges and gradation. It doesn't matter whether you're using graphite or colour pencils. You see that really dark bit underneath the ear there that's just lifted the ear off his face, and that is an edge because there's behind his ear, there's something going behind his ear out of view. So the deepest, darkest bit will be just where it disappears behind his ear, and then it will fade out gradually. So, I mean, all I do is backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. Once I've got my original layout done, and I know where everything is going to be placed and where everything goes, it's just backwards and forwards, making things lighter, making things darker. This ear, I think, just this ear alone took me over 3 hours. Just because, like I say, he is a wet dog, so there's lots of edges. There's not so much gradation as there would be on a dry dog. Because he's wet, all his fur is clumping together, and it makes lots of edges. And especially with colour pencil as well, it does take a long time to achieve something that looks real. It's not something that you can do in 10 minutes. It really does take a long time, but it's worth it at the end of it once you get the end result. I was just using my eraser in there as well. Colour pencil, you can use erasers, especially a kneaded eraser or putty eraser. They are exceptionally good for taking off layers just by dabbing it. But you can also use a craft knife to scratch off the top layer of the surface. You can use Scotch tape. There's lots of different ways that you can take some of the colour pencil off the page. But you've always got to be using a light pressure. If you start pressing really hard with your pencils, then you're not going to be able to fetch off anything you need to fetch off. And I quite often go further with one colour than I need to, and then blend the other colour into it. So sometimes it looks like I've made a mistake and I have to erase it, but I haven't. That's part of the technique of achieving realism, is fading things into other things and taking out highlights and so on. So his ear is nearly done. Like I said, same thing, just following the fur direction and making sure we've got crisp edges. So then I moved on to his forehead, his head, and again just going over with the light blue first. I'm just using that as a base coat, and then going back in with the black and picking out different bits, and then going over with greys and lighter blues, and because it's blue, I used cold greys, didn't use any warm greys. The warmer greys are more of they're more of a reddy hue to them, like a browny reddy hue, whereas the cold greys have like a bluey hue. So they worked well for this one. As far as blending goes, I don't tend to blend much. I tend to get layers and layers and layers on. You can blend. There's many different ways you can blend. You can blend it with a blending stump. You can use tissue paper. You can use a cotton bud or a Q-tip if you're in America. You can use nail varnish remover on a Q-tip, or you can get proper liquid that I'm not sure what it's called. I've never used it, but there's lots of different liquids that you can buy that will blend your coloured pencils. But like I say, that for dogs usually I don't do much blending, and if I do, I tend to do it with a brush as opposed to anything else. But if you do use the liquid, it's quite good. You have to make sure that your paper is, or the surface that you're drawing on, will accept liquid. So if it's just normal paper, it won't. But like watercolor paper or pastel mat's really good for accepting liquid. So I've tried it with a nail varnish remover, and that works well. But I haven't tried it with the stuff that you can actually buy for blending. But again, here just going through, just reinforcing darker bits, making sure that it's all in balance, and more important, that it looks like the dog that I'm trying to draw. But always, always, always following the direction of the fur, and making sure that everything is going in the right direction that's one of the main things that you've got to do. So, and then, did you see how that changed then from it looked like black, and now it's all of a sudden looks a bit bluier? That's because I pulled my light across the top. It actually is a bit blacker than that. For some reason, my light just makes it look bluer than it actually is. So it is a bit blacker than that. It doesn't look quite so blue in real life. But as you can see, I've got everything done apart from the nose here. So I used exactly the same techniques for all of it. Everything that you saw me draw was the same as everything you didn't see me draw. It was exactly the same. I didn't film it all because I already had 6 or 7 hours worth of footage in real time for the rest of it, and so I didn't think you needed to see me draw any more of it. But that's it, and then you again just using the dividers to make sure that the nostril's in the right place and that the nose is in the right place, and then once you are sure that they're all correct, you can then go in and start darkening bits that need to be darker, making sure you've got your edge to values and your gradation, and that's pretty much it really. It takes a long time. You've just got to accept that it takes a long time. Obviously, you get faster the more that you do, but yeah, it's not something that you can pick up in 5 minutes and all of a sudden you're drawing masterpieces in an hour. It doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of work, but it is a skill. It's not, people say, oh, you natural talent, and yes, there are people that have natural talent, but drawing is also a skill. Definitely a skill that you can learn. Some people just pick it up quicker than others, and that's where the natural talent comes in. But I promise you, it's a skill that you can learn if you just put the techniques into practice. So that's it anyway. He's pretty much done. So like I say, if you want to watch the full one, then it's on my channel. And thank you for watching this. Please do like and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to do daily tutorials from now on, so hopefully there'll be a bit more activity on my channel. Alright, so there we go. One wet black dog completed. Alright guys, I will see you on the next one. Thank you all for watching, and have a good day. Cheers guys.